everybody, welcome to tonight's training call. I'm super excited about our guest speaker tonight, Emerald Ambassador Jenny Kent. She is from Louisiana. She's a wife, she's a mama, she's busy, and she is working her business, and she made it all the way to Emerald in 15 months. She's actually a sideline ambassador, but I feel like she's part of our Plexus family, and I'm so excited to hear what all she has to say. She's going to be talking about her journey, some of the stuff that she and her team does. So Jenny, if you want to go ahead and share what's on your heart, we are so excited to hear it.
Okay, thank you. Hey guys. All right, so thank you so much for joining in on the call tonight, and thank you to Brittany for that awesome introduction. I am so honored to be on this call, but I'm generally stumped all the time whenever it comes to doing calls and what I want to talk about, and this call was no exception. But usually things are kind of laid on my heart right before the call, and that happened this morning. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. First, I'll start out and tell you my story. In 2014, I was 20 pounds overweight. I was absolutely exhausted all the time. I was very frustrated with my body, and I had just decided that this was my life. This is just how it was going to be for me. I had a great life. I had a fantastic husband. I had a great little girl. I had a great job, and there were still a lot of fears, and there was still a lot of frustration and a lot of negativity in my life. My husband and I worked for the same people. We work for a couple that owned a farm, and that's what my husband did. And then they also owned a lot of land and financial investments and stuff like that, and that's what I do. So there were a lot of negative things that came along with them too. They blessed us very much financially, but mentally and emotionally, they're very hard people to work for. And it stressed our marriage. It stressed each of us. We just were not in a good place. I can't even really explain the feeling that we had and how trapped we felt. Not only did we both work for the same people, but we lived on their property. We were just totally wrapped up in these people's lives. So when we found out in December of 2014 that they were moving, I was actually really super excited. We had the option to go with them, but I made the decision that we weren't going. I didn't even ask my husband. I just said, we're not going. And they said, well, your husband's going to lose his job. And I said, that's okay. We'll figure it out. I didn't know what we were going to do. Had no idea how we were going to survive. But I just had a peace about me. And so we never looked back from that decision. So I took a leap of faith, but you'll hear me repeat this several times throughout this call. I feel like God worked a lot of magic with me, not only with how everything lined up with my husband losing his job, but also with Plexus. So I was very, very worried about our future at this point. And then on December 16th, I was at my mom's house, and I just sat up in bed one morning, and there was one word on my mind, and it was Plexus. Now, I was really shocked by this thought, okay? I had done 2 previous network marketing companies. I had failed miserably at both of them. I made $6 with one, and I made $0 with the other. I was terrible at it. I had sworn them off. I was never going to do network marketing again. But again, that word just did not leave my mind that morning, and I really feel like God woke me up saying Plexus. So I tried the pink drink before. I was very inconsistent. I got one 30-day supply of Slim, and I used it for about 3 months. Sorry, something just made a weird noise. And then I told Christy Hull, who is my upline, I told her, I was like, this doesn't work. Even though it took me 3 months to finish one bag, I was convinced it didn't work. So I kind of had to swallow my pride, and I texted Christy that day, and I said, okay, tell me about the business side. Give me your spill. And she had just gone Emerald. And so she told me how much money she was making at the time, and I was blown away. So I signed up that day. I had a million reasons in my head why it wouldn't work. I wasn't any good at sales. I didn't have a large enough network. Everyone that knew me already knew Christy. That's what I thought. There's no way that anyone's going to buy from me because they already know Christy, and Christy is Emerald. I didn't post on Facebook. And I even warned Christy, like, do not expect me to post on Facebook because that is not me. You are not going to catch me doing that. And she just kind of giggled and went on. I think she knew the whole time that I was gonna come around. So sure enough, that afternoon I posted on Facebook. And anyway, I didn't know how I was gonna make it work, but I just from the very first day, I kind of drew my line in the sand that day. And I knew that whatever it took to make it work, that's what I was going to do. Okay, so I posted on Facebook that first day. I sent out this super lengthy, super generic email to all my family. I had one of them finally say, like, okay, I'm going to be nice and buy something from you. I was pretty darn terrible, okay? Salesy graphics, like generic messages. Whenever someone approached me about the products, I clammed up. I didn't know what to say. I would pretty much duck and hide. So anything that you could do wrong, I did it. But I was very determined, and I was very focused on learning and getting better. So as much as my mind doubted that I could make this work, there was this tiny little piece of me, a tiny little piece of me that knew that Plexus was the thing that was going to change my life. A tiny little part of me that gave me peace and confidence, okay? So I made a very conscious effort to let that little tiny part of me take over. I pushed myself out of my comfort zone. I watched YouTube video after YouTube video after YouTube video. I went through the team pages. I went through those team pages post by post by post until there was nothing else to read. I'd read it all. I'd looked at everything. I printed off the comp plan. I made notes and I studied over and over, and I worked my tail off. So what's happened since then? Well, we'll start with the products. I lost 6 pounds. Let me take that back. I lost 10 pounds in the first 6 weeks. And then I ended up losing another 10 pounds 6 weeks after that. No more head pain, no more knee pain. I'm not falling asleep on my desk anymore. I'm not looking for a nap every afternoon. Just kind of a whole lifestyle change for me. My success was a little slower with the business though. I went silver in my first 30 days, but it was only because I basically forced my mom and my sister-in-law to sign up and a friend of mine. But in June, everything kind of changed for me. I went to convention, and everything at convention was just, I don't know what, but it did something to me, okay? I met 3 sidelines, people that are also under Christy that became some of my very, very best friends that I talk to every single day. And they did so much for me. They took me from a super self-conscious, insecure person, and they gave me the confidence to lead and to step out of my comfort zone and to move forward. The other thing that happened at convention is my husband called and said, okay, this is it. This is the last month at my job. So that was really scary. And I remember standing there in the corridor outside of the meeting, just trying to hold back tears. But 2 weeks after convention, I went gold, and I realized that my check from June was actually surpassed his check that he would have earned that month. Okay. So here we are now. That was in June. So now we're 10 months later, and our income has never dropped. Okay. That is kind of the moment that I decided that I was going to be a leader, that I was going to do everything I could do to help the people that were under me, that I was going to push, that I wasn't going to let anything hold me back. Okay. So the following month I went senior gold. 2 months later, I went ruby, and then the back office disaster happened, and it was a disaster. It was hard, and I'll be the first to admit it. I let it get me down. I let it suck me in. I let it make me crazy. I let it make me doubt everything. I was working my business, and I was talking to my team as best I could, but behind the scenes, I was drowning in self-pity and just negativity and kind of wallowing in everything. And I finally decided that I had 2 options. I could quit, or I could pick myself up and I could try to move forward and make the best out of that situation. So at the beginning of February, I did just that. I decided to push. I came up with new ideas, new trainings. I kind of just dove back in and put all of my energy into drowning out the negative and focusing on only the good things. And I went Senior Ruby in February. And then the next month in March, I went Emerald, which is insane. My goal was Emerald by May, so Emerald by convention, and I hit it 2 months early. And I truly think that a lot of that is due to the mindset that I had and that mind shift that I had between Ruby and Emerald. So I got my Lexus, I got the trip to Hawaii. I accomplished that goal that I had set out to that first day whenever Christy told me how much money she made as an Emerald. The income that I earned in March is more than I make at my full-time job and that my husband made at his full-time job combined. Okay. And I have a very good full-time job. And this is with my husband also as a senior gold ambassador. Okay. Speaking of my husband, he has not had to go back to work. He has been able to start his own business. He works when he wants to, how he wants to, where he wants to, and he works with who he wants to. So our relationship is much improved. We are generally much happier people than we were pre-Plexus. So everything was worth it. All of the struggles, all of the trials, all of the stress was worth it. It was worth it to push through those trials, to grow myself, to force myself out of my comfort zone, to fall down and drag myself back up. So if you get nothing else out of this call, then please get this. It is worth it. Wherever you're at in your business, wherever you're at with the products, it is worth it for you to continue. So I'm going to rattle off a few key points that I think every ambassador should be doing, and then I'll elaborate on a couple of those. Number one, be a product of the product. Take them consistently. It shows to your audience, and it shows to your customers, your family, your team members, the people that you meet, okay? The second thing is study. Watch YouTube videos. There are so many great resources out there. All you've got to do is go search for them. So I watch them every morning when I'm putting on my makeup. I watch them. I listen to them as I'm driving down the road. I listen to them as I'm working out in the mornings. Look at your team pages every day. Those are there just for you. There are people that work very hard on those just for you. So browse through them, comment on some posts, participate in the things that your upline is providing to you. Build your belief through those testimony pages and through the other ambassadors in the sidelines that are on your team. Number three is set realistic goals with a timeline and an action plan. I really like the quote that an arrow cannot go in a straight line without a fixed point to follow. And I think that's so true. If we don't have a set place that we're trying to go, then we are probably not going to go in a straight line. And we all know that a straight line is the fastest way to get there. Okay. Number four is get to events. All events, any events. This is another place where you can and will build your belief and build your passion for the products and for the business. Not only that, but you're going to meet people that prove to be invaluable to you, which leads me to my next point. Number five, partner up. And I really like sideline partnerships, and here's why. A lot of people don't understand why I talk so much about these three ladies that I met at convention. So let me explain. I'm an idea person. I am the person that has so many things in my head and I think all the time, and I've got a lot of stuff stored up in there. But I'm not the person that will go out and have the confidence to carry through with those ideas, okay? These girls did that for me. They kind of needed the ideas at the time, and I had the ideas. So we paired up, and they gave me the confidence to actually take everything that I was thinking and put it on paper and put it out there. And since then, like I said, we talk every day, and it has grown all of us so much. We are brutally honest with each other, which I think is another key to this sideline relationship, because we don't benefit from each other. We can't hurt each other, and we can't help each other other than just being completely honest and having a great relationship. Number six is work hard to be self-sufficient, but don't be scared to ask for help when you need it. You don't want to blow your upline's phone up, okay? If there's something that you can get off the team page, go get it off the team page. But if there's something that you can't, don't be scared to ask. That's what your uplines are there for, and they want to help you. Number seven is to be bold. So right this second, take your fears, kick them in the back seat, tell them to stay there. Like, they are not welcome any longer. All they do is hinder you. So just stop right now. No more fears, okay? Number eight is commit. This business is not for the weak. It requires dedication and commitment and work to progress. Many times you're not going to see the fruits of your labor immediately. It may be months down the road. But you've got to look at the big picture. You've got to know your why, and you've got to know without a doubt that your time and your effort are worth the payoff in the end. Number 9 is post consistently and intentionally. Effective posting isn't just grabbing the first Facebook or the first Plexus post that pops up in your newsfeed, okay? Effective posting is really about figuring out what your audience needs to hear and saying that, okay? And number 10 is lead, lead, lead. I have found that the majority of people, whether these are prospects or customers, teammates, everyone, they like to be led, okay? And then you need to train, train, train. So do those 3-way calls. Develop systems for your team that are accurate and clear. Read those personal development books, and then teach your team what you just read about. Check up on your level 1s and your customers. Hold yourself and your team accountable, and create a really supportive culture on your team. Teach people the importance of going silver and the importance of the power of 3. Make a big deal out of promotions. This is fun. Make a big deal out of the things that your people do on your team that are really great. Make a big deal out of your customer successes if they're willing to let you do that. And then teach people how to focus and how to be intentional. So leading and positivity is kind of what I want to focus on for the rest of this call. Leading is my passion. It is the thing that I love absolutely the most out of this. It's my favorite part of this Plexus thing, okay? It's what I think about day in and day out. I'm not kidding. From the time I get up to the time I go to bed, I'm thinking about what I can do for my team to help them reach their goals. But we don't come here knowing how to do this. No one is born knowing how to lead. No one is taught that in school. You know, I have a business management degree, but I was never taught how to lead anyone. I was taught how to manage them, and that's not the same thing. So I wanted to be a great leader for a long time, but I was lost, okay? So this morning I was working out, and the subject for the rest of this call came strolling up in that gym. And I knew that I had to tell you guys about Jack, okay? So 2 months ago, I made the decision to begin working out, like really working out in a gym. I hired a personal trainer, and I'm going 3 mornings a week, okay? I get up at like 4, and I'm in the gym between 4:30 and 5, okay? What I really dreaded was the people that I thought I was going to run into at the gym, okay? I never dreamed about the people that I was actually going to meet, okay? On my first day, I realized that working out super early like I was meant that I get to work out with the geriatric group, okay? They are also up at 4:30 in the morning. But that made me really happy. So I was on the elliptical that first day, and in walks Jack, okay? He's 73 years old. He is built like a brick house. He's a strong guy, okay? And my trainer started telling me about him, that he used to spar with Muhammad Ali and with George Foreman. He told me that he was actually from California, and that he has had a wife back in California for, I think he said 30 years. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was 30 years. But that he lives here in Louisiana. And so when I asked, you know, what's the deal? Why does he do that? I got this very strange look. And he said, well, I think he has a pretty questionable past. And he said, I've heard some things, but I'm not going to talk about it. So I haven't asked anymore. But Jack is in that gym every single morning, and he sings, okay? His signature song that he sings every morning is You've Got to Know When to Hold 'Em, okay? So just imagine this big, burly guy in the gym every morning singing a song, okay? And I don't mean quietly. I mean over the whole gym. So obviously I noticed that. You can't not notice him. But even more than his singing, he's just not a person that you can ignore. He doesn't say very much, but I find myself like every time that he talks, I'm leaning in. I want to hear what he has to say. So the next day, my second day at the gym, I walk in, And as I walk in, he yells across the gym and he says, "There she is." And I'm like, oh, don't say that. But he goes on and he works out for a minute and he sees me over there and I'm trudging away on the elliptical and he says, "She's not giving up. She's working at it. She knows she has to keep coming every day." So I have heard that there she is 2 to 3 times a week, every single week for the past 2 months. Okay. And it's gotten to the point that I look for it. I crave it. So when I am dying doing 2-minute long planks and I can hear him in the next room and he's singing very loudly and his voice is booming over the whole gym. When I feel like I just cannot run anymore, it's just not in me. But he waves from the other side of the room and he gives me a little thumbs up. I can't stop. He keeps me going. How can I quit when he is 73 years old and he is still going? So Jack is the lifeblood of that gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm not the only person that experiences this. And you can definitely tell how the general feeling of everyone in there whenever he walks in versus when he walks out. He is the person that keeps us all coming. On the mornings when I am just worn smooth out, I go anyway because I want him to think highly of me. He tells me every day about how he's so proud of me that I keep going. So I can't not go. I have to go. When I want to quit, when I want to give up, but he's there. You know, he's still pushing. So I can't stop pushing because he's still pushing. So he isn't my trainer. I don't pay him. He is just a man with a questionable past and a great attitude. But he is the reason that I push myself. He is the reason that I reach my goals in that gym every morning, okay? So my point in telling you all this is that you understand that there is a difference in being a trainer and in being a leader. A trainer does what is asked of them. They provide the tools. They train their team. They give information. They're there whenever someone has a question to ask, okay? But a leader helps people believe in themselves. A leader makes people want to earn it for themselves and encourages them and roots them on and makes them feel like they can just accomplish anything. So it's your job to be a trainer and to be a leader. So I've recently noticed a huge distinction in some of my downline, okay, specifically my level 1s in their teams. And some of these teams are just flying, okay? They really don't need any help. I mean, they have just taken off and they're doing great. They are adding people left and right. Every time I turn around, they have someone ranking up. And then other teams are struggling. They aren't moving. They say they're trying, and they are trying. I'm not meaning that they aren't. They are trying. But you'll understand what the difference is in a minute. And the difference is the leadership of those teams. So I'm not saying that if your team isn't promoting at warp speed that you aren't a great leader. That is not the case. What I'm saying is it's worth really looking into. It's worth asking yourself some questions. So those questions should be, am I letting my fears hold me back? Am I really taking the reins? Am I really taking control of this? Am I doing the same thing that I'm asking and encouraging my teammates to do? Am I signing level 1s? Am I working hand in hand with my people to help them succeed? Am I building new relationships? Am I thinking outside of the box? Or am I just waiting on someone else to tell me what to do? Okay? The teams that are soaring under me are mostly headed up by people that have grasped leadership. People that have seen the vision for themselves, people that have grabbed onto it, and they've become so determined and so invested and so excited that failure is not an option. They are willing to do anything. They are willing to grow however much they need to grow to reach their goals. They are the ones that are calling me instead of me calling them. They're the ones saying, hey, I've been thinking about this. I think this might be a good idea. What do you think? They're the ones that are pushing themselves instead of me having to call them and beg them and say, well, how's it going this week? They are not letting their fear stand in their way. And there's one specific girl on my team. As a matter of fact, her year anniversary is coming up maybe this month. And she's really struggled. And she struggled to go silver, and she finally went silver, and she struggled to go gold, and she finally went gold last month. But I saw a very clear difference in her in February. And I asked her the other day, I said, what happened? And she said, I was driving down the road, and she said, it just hit me. No one's doing this for you. It's not coming to you. You've got to go get it. And that one thought for her, that one thought changed everything, and it turned everything around. And now she has made a team page, and she is making videos every day for her team, and she is leading them. And if they don't respond, then that is okay with her. She just does it again the next day, and she moves on, and she keeps pushing. Okay, so you can be a leader. We all can be a leader. But this is what you should be going for. You should be supporting people, encouraging them, be their friend, be their cheerleader. Give them the tools, absolutely give them the tools, and teach them how to use the resources, but teach them how to do it for themselves. Help them learn how to be leaders, not just with the daily tasks, but also with the attitude that goes along with it. So how do you foster that attitude? You focus on positivity. Negativity is not going to get you anywhere at all. It is going to hold you back every single day of your life. So you've got to learn how to control your thoughts. There's been a lot of focus within the Plexus world on mindset lately, and I'm absolutely loving it. It makes me so excited. But I've been doing something with my team this week that I want to share with you guys and kind of challenge y'all to do for yourselves. So a few years ago, I was watching The View, and Jenny McCarthy was on The View. I don't even like The View. I don't know why I was watching it, but it was. So Jenny McCarthy was talking about using a rubber band to learn to control your thoughts. So here's how it works. You take a hair tie, rubber band, whatever you have. I've actually got both. And you put it on your wrist, okay? And every time that you have a negative thought, you just switch wrists. Simple. It's that easy, okay? These negative thoughts can be about yourself, about someone else, about your business, about your family, about that you don't want to go to the grocery store, whatever it is, any doubts that you have, or anything negative, you just switch this rubber band, okay? And what it does is it shows you how often you're thinking negatively. It really brings that to your attention. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. The first time that I did this, there was no one around, and I was embarrassed. I was driving my daughter to school, and I shouldn't have even been driving, because this is what was happening the whole time. This rubber band was flying, okay? But I would have told you that I was a very positive person before that. I would have said, oh yeah, I don't think that negatively at all. But obviously, it really taught me that I had a lot of criticism in my head about myself. I would think a negative thought, and then I would switch this rubber band, and I would think like, oh, how stupid, you thought that negatively. And then I would think, oh, you did it again. It was just a huge chain reaction. I was so hard on myself, and I was so hard on other people, and I couldn't turn it off. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't turn it off. So I worked very hard for the last 2 years on positive thinking, and those things began to manifest. I have an aunt that's told me that over and over and over, and she is so true. If you think it, it comes to life. So now I'm doing this challenge with my team, and I've asked them for the next 72 hours to do this rubber band challenge. And it's so funny, and it's so fun to watch them and listen to them and hear their comments and hear who is struggling, who thinks they're doing well, and then they realize, oh, maybe I'm not doing so well. So anyway, I want you guys to try this. Really, just try it for yourselves. Do it for the next 3 days. Do it as a team if you want to. I think that's super fun, and you can kind of root each other on and get some laughs out of it. But more than anything, that's really all I have for tonight. But I want to encourage you, when you are thinking about leading and when you are thinking about your actions and your thoughts, be a jack. Be a jack in a world full of gems. Be that person that makes other people want to do more. Be that person that is so positive and that is so uplifting and that is so invested in other people and in building them up that people can't ignore you. Okay? So that's all I have.
Thank you so much, Jenny. That was awesome, as expected. Thank you for taking time out of your night to share all that with us. Got some notes here. I can't wait to implement some of these things. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing that with us tonight.
Anytime. Anytime.
Bye.